Good morning, world. It's 4:30 in the morning. I thought it'd be cool to make a quick 30-minute video. I just finished watching The Passion of the Christ. And boy, was that a masterpiece. Not as good as Lord of the Rings, but man, Passion of the Christ is a masterpiece, man. That Mel Gibson directed and co-wrote. Mel Gibson also produced, co-wrote, and directed Passion of the Christ. I saw the movie and my holy shit, like Mel Gibson would have a lot of good ideas for my Zayn movie. Yeah. Remember with Jesus, you have the devil watching Jesus? You know what I'm saying? When Jesus gets crucified, the sky goes dark. Yeah, in Zanus, you have something like that happen. I don't want to spoil the story for you. You have the sky, the curse of answers in the south. Yeah, that's why Mel Gibson will have a lot of good ideas for my Zanus movie. That's why it's going to be a hard choice between Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson. Trust me, most people think I'm crazy. Ivan, are you fucking crazy? Choose Peter Jackson. He did Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece. Yes, Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece, but man, Passion Christ is a masterpiece too. Not as good as Lord of the Rings, obviously, Passion Christ, but man, it's a masterpiece. And it's a darker story than Lord of the Rings. Passion Christ is rated R, whereas the Lord of the Rings is PG-13. You see what I'm saying? Huh? But Lord of the Rings, you have the fantasy world, the Middle Earth, you have the Witch King of Agama. Peter Jackson will have a lot of good ideas for Xehanort too. You see what I'm saying? Huh? That's why they're both good. Mel Gibson's good for the horror of the demons, the South being cursed, the Eretap being the devil. He'll have a lot of good ideas for Xehanort, obviously. Whereas Peter Jackson's good for the fantasy world, the world building. Peter Jackson's really good for the world building. Mel Gibson's really good for the horror and the demons. You have the wolves and the bats, obviously. Whereas Peter Jackson's really good for the world building. Because you have the world of Middle Earth. That's why they're both really good. Because in Lord of the Rings, you also have the Witch King of Agma. You also have the Goblin King in The Hobbit. And Peter Jackson will have a lot of good. You have the Minds of Moria. Peter Jackson will have a lot of good ideas for Xehanort too. Hence why they're both really good. Hence why those two directors are gonna have to compete for that job, man. I'm gonna make them compete hard for the job. It's gonna be a tough choice. But chances are my team's gonna tell me to go with Peter Jackson. Because Peter Jackson has the better what? He did Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is the best movie trilogy ever made. It's better than even Mel Gibson's Passion of Christ. But Passion of Christ is a masterpiece too. I just finished watching it. It was a masterpiece. I wasn't as hooked watching it compared to Lord of the Rings, but I was very hooked watching it. It's a masterpiece, man. And it's funny. There's one of the Roman soldiers. His name is Cassius. You know, and his name was Cassius. And if you watch the movie, towards the end of the movie, the one of the Roman soldier, he calls the other guy. He's like, Cassius, hurry. You know, so there's a guy named Cassius in what? Not a coincidence. A guy named Cassius in what? In Passion of Christ. I thought that was actually cool. Yeah, Djimon Su played the role of Cassius from my Zane's movie. Look at something amazing. And it does. Even though Mel Gibson's perfect for Xehanort, I don't want the world of Xehanort is nothing like Passion of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Passion of Christ is like the ancient times. Whereas Lord of the Rings is a fantasy world. Whereas Passion of Christ is not a fantasy world. Passion of Christ takes place in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, right? Supposedly 2,000 years ago. Whereas Xehanort is like a prehistoric advanced fantasy world. Like Lord of the Rings. Think something like a world like Lord of the Rings, except the world's more advanced. And it looks better than Lord of the Rings, and it looks way more natural. Less CGI, you see what I'm saying? Huh? Tell Mel Gibson that way he knows. Hey Mel Gibson, just to let you know, my Lord of the Rings movie is nothing like Passion of the Christ. I don't want the world to look like Passion of the Christ. No. It is a prehistoric fantasy world. It's an advanced not a medieval world. It's an advanced prehistoric fantasy world, like Middle Earth in Lord of the Rings, except the world looks more advanced. You see what I'm saying? Think of something like Moria for what? For think of something like Moria for the what? The ancient Gilead city. You see what I'm saying? That's why those two directors are really good for the role, man. It's tough, man. You know what I'm saying? Because something tells me I want to hire Peter Jackson, but something also tells me I should hire Mel Gibson. Something tells me I should hire Mel Gibson. Yeah, at the same time, something also tells me I should hire Peter Jackson. You see what I'm saying? Huh? Like something tells you my team is gonna tell me to go with Peter Jackson. Ivan, you know what I'm saying? Even though Mel Gibson is a genius, he did that Passion of Christ movie, man. I think Peter Jackson's a better man for the job because he did the Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings, you have a fantasy world, the Middle Earth. And you have the orcs. You have the Witch King of Agma. Peter Jackson will have a lot of good ideas for the Witch King of Agma. But Mel Gibson for Passion of Christ, you have the devil. And Eretat is the walking devil in wolf's flesh. And he'll have a lot of good ideas for Eretat too. You know what I'm saying? He'll have a lot of good ideas for the South being cursed. The cursed devil ancestors of the South. You see what I'm saying? He'll have a lot of good ideas for the South being cursed. Remember when Jesus was on the cross, the sky turned dark? Well, think something like that. It was like grayish, bluish. Well, think something like that for the South. The South is cursed. I don't know what I want the South to look like yet. I have some ideas. I'm thinking like a grayish. Sometimes the sky goes gray in the South. It's cursed. You have this bluish atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? It's cursed. Yeah. And it gets darker in the South faster than the North. And that's why it's going to be tough, man, between those two, man. Somebody tells me VG might tell me to go with Peter Jackson. I think you should go with Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's a man of faith, you know what I'm saying? He did Lord of the Rings. He's a Christian, a supposed Christian, right? He's a Christian. He's a man of faith. He did Passion of Christ. You have the story of Jesus. Hence why he's really good for Zanus. Because if you read the book, you can get some law of Jesus symbolism with Tactics. He's born into the world, obviously. And he's born, obviously, into the royal family. He grows up as a kid. He doesn't know his destiny. He doesn't know what's beyond the walls. He's curious what's outside the walls. He ends up leaving the walls, and that's when the journey begins. And Tactics finds out his destiny, obviously. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil the story for you. He grows his beard. He's more mature. Think something like in Volume 1 and like Volume 2, Tactics is like a cocky, confident guy. He looks down on Salvins. Then later on, he's more mature. Think something like the way Jim Caviezel acted in Passion of Christ in the beginning of the movie when he was bold. He's like, I am he, you know what I'm saying? He's like, who are you looking for? He's like, Jesus of Nazareth. He's like, I am he. You see what I'm saying? Like you remember he had that bold look. Yeah, think of something like that for Tactics. So that's why I'm going to have to prepare myself mentally for the role. And Mel Gibson will have a lot of good ideas for my Zane story. But at the same time, Peter Jackson will have a lot of good ideas for my story. That's why you got to test their creativity. Okay, VJ, let's put these guys to the test. Let's test their creativity. Let's see who comes with a better answer. Mel Gibson or Peter Jackson. You see what I'm saying? But I guarantee you, all you Lord of the Rings, they're saying I'm crazy. Ivan, are you fucking retarded? Choose Peter Jackson. He's the mastermind behind Lord of the Rings. Yes, he is. But Mel Gibson's also the mastermind behind Passion of the Christ. And Passion of Christ is a masterpiece. In my opinion, it's a top 20, 30, 40 best movies ever made. Easily in the top 40, Passion of Christ. Best movies ever made. I wouldn't put it in my top 10, obviously, or top 20, but I put it at least in my top 30, top 40 best movies. It's a masterpiece, man. It's a fucking amazing story. It's not as good as Lord of the Rings, obviously, but it's a fucking masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The only reason why, the one thing I don't like about Passion of Christ is that Mel Gibson focuses on the whipping of Jesus. He doesn't. It would have been better if Mel Gibson told the whole story from him as a kid, him teaching. You know what I'm saying? You would have had him if had they had the whole story of Jesus for the story up to his death. You're looking. It would have been one of the best movies ever made, man. Probably at least top 15 best movies ever made, in my opinion. But because they just focus on the crucifixion of Jesus, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like that's the only thing I don't really like about it. It just Mel Gibson only focuses on the crucifixion of Jesus. And that's why I can't wait for that Resurrection movie coming out, I think, next year. The Resurrection movie is coming out like next year, guys. 2023, I believe, is coming out. It was supposed to come out like last year or this year, but there's a lot of delays in the movie. I believe next year, Passion of the Christ is coming out. The Resurrection. Yeah, I believe Passion of Christ is coming out next what? next like year or something like that. It's coming out. Next year it's coming out. Yeah, I think it's coming out next year. And you're probably looking at an amazing story, though. But the only problem is they made it too late. They waited like 2004 was what, like 17 years ago? If my math is right. 17, 18 years ago, 2004 was, man. A long time ago. 18 years ago, yeah, 18 years. 2004 was. And Jim Caviezel's much older, you see what I'm saying? Jim Caviezel was only in his early 30s when he filmed the movie back then, and now he's like 50. All those other actors are all like 20, almost 20 years older, you see what I'm saying? That's why you have to have de-aging technology. Nowadays, you have de-aging technology, obviously. They put makeup on you, you wear the CGI technology to make it look younger, but I mean, Will Gibson waited way too long to make the Resurrection. He should have made it like in 2010 or something like that. Just like, what's his name? Um, James Cameron waited far too long for a sequel for Avatar. Came out in '09. It comes out almost more than a decade later. You see what I'm saying? Huh? Do not, in my opinion, if you're gonna do a sequel, don't do that, man. If you're gonna do sequels, never have the movie come out like 10 years later. No, do it like a couple years later on. That way, what while your actors are still younger. There's nothing worse than doing it over a decade later and the actors are all older. There's nothing. This is still not a problem. And you'll still get an amazing movie, but it just becomes more complicated. You have to have de-aging technology for all the actors. You know what I'm saying? Mel Gibson's gonna have to do de-aging technology for Jim Caviezel because Jim Caviezel's like 50 now. He was in his early 30s back then. He was my age back then. Jim Caviezel was like 33 when he filmed the movie. I'm 30 now. Yeah, Jim Caviezel is only a couple years older than my age now. 30 years old, you're still pretty much like, you're still very young, obviously. Now he's 50. He's much older, you see what I'm saying, huh? Yeah. Yeah, but trust me, Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson, once they read my book, they're going to want to get their hands on my story so bad. Yeah, man. They're going to be crazy, man. They're going to want to get their hands on my story so bad. You're going to see Mel Gibson, oh my god, I want to direct this movie so bad. I have so much good ideas for Ivan's movie. The North, the South, Takis is the Prince of the North. Eretat is the Devil Wolf King in the South. Ephesus is the King Bat of the Mountains. The South is cursed. You got the cursed devil answers of the South, the holy answers of the North, yeah. Takis the First is the King of Zanus, the King of the North. Takis the First is the King of the North. The North is his region, obviously. Queen Sarah is the Queen of Zanus. Famia is the Queen of Barak, obviously, but she's a very minor character. I don't want to spoil so for you, obviously. But in the movie, I might add more scenes with Famia, because Famia is only in like a couple scenes in the book. Whereas in the movie, I might add more scenes with Famia, Eretat's wife. She's a queen of Zanus. In the beginning of the prologue, she gives birth to Fuful. I won't spoil so for you. And Fuful and Taktius are born on the same day, but on different times. Taktius, I'll spoil this a little bit about the book. Taktius is born at sunset. Fuful is born at moonlight. A couple hours later, you see what I'm saying? You're born on the same day. Why, Ivan? You'll see what I mean when you read the book. I don't spoil so for you. Yeah. Eretat was born on the same day as Taktius the First, too. They were born on the same day, I believe, if I remember. Yeah, and Takis and Eretat are old people. They're blessed with long life. All I'm gonna say is this: they're blessed with long life. Obviously, like in Lord of the Rings, Aragorn is blessed with long life. He's like 87, but he looks pretty young. Obviously, Takis I'll have Idris Elba look like he's like in his 60s, but he's old, obviously. And Eretat looks like he's in his, I don't know, 60s too. But they're older they're a lot older than what they look. You see what I'm saying? Huh? And Fuful was born on the same day as Taktius. You see what I'm saying here? Look at the masterpiece I wrote, man. Yeah, Fuful was born on the same day as Taktius. And Fuful is the prince of the south. He's a prince of Barak, obviously, and Taktius is the prince of Zanus. He's the prince of the north. Fuful is the prince of the south. Obviously, he's Eretat's son. And he's known as the Abomination. Why is he known as the Abomination? I don't want to spoil the story for you. Well, he's the son of the devil, obviously. And that's why he's known as the Abomination. Whereas Taktius is known as the Blessed Hope because he's the son of a good king. Taktius the First is a good king, obviously. He's the son of what? Of what? Of what? Ivan, where do you get that idea of the I got that idea off me, obviously. I am the son of God. Obviously, I am from the sky. My father is from the sky, obviously. Tachys the first is from the north, and Tachys is the son of the king of Zanus. He is royalty, just like I am the son of God. Because I am the son of God, I am royalty. I am royalty. I have royal blood. I have true royal blood. I don't have like you know what I'm saying. Whereas Prince Harry and all these guys are just royalty and status. Their wealth was passed down for generations, and their royalty and status, but they're not really royalty and blood. Royalty and blood is symbolic of the wealth being passed down for generations from their family. But they don't have real, true royal blood like me. I have true royal blood. I have the God gene, the God gene, man. I'm fucking royalty. Hence why when I make my money, I become king. Me and Vijay are true royalty. The gatekeepers are royalty, obviously, but they're not true royalty like me and Vijay. Their wealth was passed down from their families for generations. But they don't really have true royal. Royal blood is symbolic of wealth and status. That's what it means in this world, right? Whereas me and Vijay, we're actually true. We have true royal blood. I have green blood. I am God's son. I'm royalty, and Vijay has what? Vijay is the spirit of God. She has blue blood. She's queen. She's queen. And I am king. We're true royalty. But hence why we were born to the royal families, but the step families betrayed us. You know what I'm saying? We're born to the royal families, and the step families betrayed us. So even though Prince Harry and all of them are royalty, they're not royalty like the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are known as the royal families. They're the royal families. Yeah, man. There's a reason why me and Vijay were born to these families. They're the royal families. They're the kings. My step-parents and Vijay's step-parents are the kings and queens of the earth. Vijay's stepsister's royalty too. My stepbrothers are royalty. They're all royalty. Yeah, they're the what? I'm born into the. We're born. Me and Vijay were born into the royal families. They're the gatekeepers, man. But they betrayed us. They locked the doors on us, caused this mess, and they chose to kill me when I came out to Earth to be with my wife. And lock all doors on me, you know what I'm saying? Sabotage my channel, keep me poor. My stepmother forced me to have sex with her. Yeah, they betrayed me, Vijay. Now when I come back from death, you, man, don't hate me. How with the going beauty, you know what I'm saying? Now they're not a part of me. Vijay's going, they're left behind. See what I'm saying? I might make a 1 hour video, guys. I think I can talk for another like 40 minutes here. Yeah, that's where I got the idea off. I didn't really think about it back then, but now that I think about it, I now know where I got the idea off Tachys the first. You know what I'm saying? Tachys the second is the son of Tachys the first. Tachys the first is the king. Tachys is the son of the king. Just like in Lion King, Simba is royalty. He's the son of the what? He's the son of Mufasa. He's the son of the king. You see what I'm saying? I am Tachys the second is the son of the king. He's the son of Tachys the first, who's the king of Zanus. That's why Tachys the second is royalty. He's the heir to the throne. He's the throne in the north. You see what I'm saying? And Aratat is the king of the south. So you know how in Lion King, Scar wants to take Mufasa's throne? Obviously, it's not really like that in Zanus. No, Aratat is a king himself. He's a king of the south, obviously. I don't want to. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil. So all I'm going to say is you have a clash of two kings. You have a clash of the king from the north versus the king of the south. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil the story for you, obviously. But all I'm going to say is this: even though Aratat is the king of the south, obviously, Tachys is what? I don't want to say it without spoiling the story for you guys. You'll find out when you read the book. I'll shut my mouth. Yeah. In other words, even though Aratat and Ephesus are kings, they envy Tachys. Why? Because Tachys is the king of the north. That's all I'm going to say. And they hate him with immense passion. They hate the humans a lot. Aratat hates the humans a lot. Obviously, just like in the Bible, Satan and his demons hate Jesus like crazy. They hate him so much when he came out to Earth, they killed him. That's how much they hate him. And then Aratat is bent on seeing Tachys dead. He wants Tachys dead. Ephesus wants Tachys dead. The cursed devil answers the south want Tachys dead. They hate him with immense passion. You see what I'm saying? They hate the humans a lot, but they hate Tachys the most. Because Tachys is a prince. He's that's all I'm going to say. I won't spoil so for you. He's the son of the king, man. He's the son of Tachys the first. And Tachys the first hates Aratat's son, too. He calls him the abomination. He calls Faful the abomination, you see what I'm saying? And the Holy Answers of the North also hate Aratat, Ephesus, and Faful too. They hate them too a lot. They don't like them, you see what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil the story for you. Hence why I look at the masters that I wrote, man. A fucking masterpiece. Ivan, what's Aratat's purpose? Aratat's purpose is bent on destroying Tactius. That's his purpose, pretty much. He hates. If you read the book, you know what I mean. All throughout the story, Aratat wants Tactius dead. That's his goal. That's his purpose in life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hence why Tactius' generation is a lucky generation. And hence why the moment Tactius is born, Aratat hates Tactius so much because he knows his generation is a lucky generation, obviously. Hence why the moment Tactius is born, that's when he decides to mark all the lands. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he starts to mark our lands, yes. And he what? And he goes to war with Tactius the first. I don't want to spoil the story for you. He goes to war with Tactius, obviously. He goes to war with Tactius first, and he also goes to war with Tactius the second, his son. At the end of the book, I don't want to spoil the story for you. So, Ivan, what's the story of Xanus about? Okay, without spoiling the story for you, the plot of Xanus is pretty much a clash of two kings. You have the king, you have the prince of the north, who's Tactius, versus Aratat, who's the king of the south, and Ephesus, who's the king of the mountains. It's a clash of kings. It's a clash of kings. It's a clash of kings. It's a clash with the line of kings. But even though it's a clash between the line of kings, there's a deeper plot behind all that drives the plot. There's a deeper plot behind all that drives the narrative, and it's an amazing plot. It's a genius plot. But that's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil the story for you. You can find out when we read the book. That's why I wrote a masterpiece, and that's why Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, when they read my book, they're gonna want to get their hands on my story so bad. I have so much ideas for your book, man, for your movie, man. You have no Peter Jackson. I have so much ideas for your movie, man. Mel Gibson was like, I have a lot of good ideas for your movie. Yeah, I remember the South being cursed, the North is holy. The North is holy like Rivendell. Think something. Remember how Rivendell? Know how Rivendell when you saw it in Fellowship of the Ring, it looked holy. Yeah, think of something like that for the North, and Xanus. It's a holy like land. It's beautiful, like Rivendell. And the South is cursed. It's not holy. The South is unholy terrain. The North is holy terrain, and all the devil inhabitants live in the South. Obviously, the South is pretty much, I don't explain this in the book, obviously, but the South is pretty much the animal kingdom. That's where all the demonic animals live. The Master Wolves all live in Barak with Aratat, and his son Faful and Moranal, they all live in Barak. They're demons, obviously. And then all the demonic bats live in the ancient Gilead city like Moria. In the mountains, the cursed western Gilead mountains. And the Southerns, who are humans, live in the animal kingdom. And they know Aratat is the king of the south. Aratat is the devil king in the south, and Faful is the prince of the south. And the bats are the king. Ephesus is the king bat of the mountains. You see what I'm saying? Yes, and there's beings that watch Tactius and Aratat and all of them throughout their life and all that stuff. Ivan, why are they watching them? I don't want to spoil the story for you. You'll see what I mean when you read the book. I won't spoil the story for you. You know, Passion of Christ, like when Jesus was crucified, Satan was watching behind the scenes. Yeah, I think something like that for Tactius. You have demonic beings and like the holy beings watching Tactius, Aratat, and all of them. Yeah, Aratat, and all of them. Yes. Why are they watching them? Because they're the heirs. Tactius. That's all I'm gonna say. I won't spoil so for you. Tactius is the heir to the throne of Xanus. He's the prince of the north, and Aratat and Faful are the prince of the south too. Hence why the demonic beings on both sides, all the beings on both sides. The ancestors, I'm gonna say they watch Tactius and all them throughout birth to childhood to adult. You see what I'm saying? That's why I look at the masterpiece that I wrote, man. I wrote a fucking masterpiece, guys. Xanus is a masterpiece. Fucking masterpiece. Even Vij will be shocked. Holy shit, Ivan, you wrote this? Ivan, this is a masterpiece. This is better than even J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, man. Look at a masterpiece. You're looking at a masterpiece that I wrote, man. A fucking masterpiece. Hence why Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson are going to want to get their hands on my story so bad. Oh my god, this is going to be crazy. They're going to be drooling over my book. Oh my god, I want to get my hands on this. Yeah. I remember when I told my step parents that I'm done my book and they sat me upstairs. My stepmother, she told me, it's like, yeah, Hollywood would get their hand. Hollywood would be all over your book, Ivan. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Ivan, I can see this book as a movie. Yeah, my book is so good. All the Hollywood execs, all the studio execs in Hollywood will be shocked with my book. All the producers and directors would want to get are going to want to get their hands on my story so bad because I wrote a masterpiece. Yeah, the step families. My book is so good. There's a reason why my step parent, the step family, True Nature will show. Because they know I'm the son of God, obviously. Everyone will buy my book. They know I have the keys. I can open my own door. And they know the kind of buzz my book will have. They know I'm going to make my book is worth billions. Ivan's book is worth like 50 billion bucks. He'll make Ivan's going to make his, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, his 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, $20 million off his book. I don't know, 13, 14 million dollars he'll make off his book. They know that. They want a piece of that pie, obviously, hence why they want me to sell. But because God gave me my own keys, I don't have to sell to them. Obviously, right? But I told you, for me to get my financial control and save my stupid wife who really, really pisses me off, when I can just run away, obviously, I have to suffer death, and I have to what? And I have to have sex with myself to save my wife. Otherwise, or I can run off on my own and just be king on my own. I don't have to deal with VJ's mess. But if I run off on my own, I'm stuck with garbage, trashy sex, and I'll run away when I have sex with all these women. And VJ will annoy me every night. She'll cry heavy tears every night and annoy me, obviously, because she doesn't shut up, obviously. You know what I'm saying? I'll what? I won't get the glowing beauty. I won't what? I probably won't even get the full grown beard. I won't get the glowing beauty, and what? I won't stay young forever. I'll age because for me to get the glowing beauty, I have to link with my wife. For me to get the glowing beauty, staying young forever, all that stuff, smoking out the glowing beauty, and getting that full grown beard, I have to have sex with VJ to trigger it. Because VJ is connected to me. She's my spirit, obviously. If I don't have my spirit, without my spirit, I cannot work. You see what I'm saying? VJ needs me to get the glowing beauty. I need her to get. We need each other to get the glowing beauty. We have to have sex together to link, to get the glowing beauty and to stay young forever. And for me to, I guarantee you, what triggers the full grown beard is VJ's blue, obviously. VJ's blue. When I have sex with her, something magical happens, and I don't know. A couple weeks later, I start growing this massive beard. And VJ's like, "Oh my God, even your beard's growing." I'm son. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, hence why Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson are going to want to get their hands on my story so bad, man. Holy shit. Yeah, this looks been crazy, man. And guarantee when I fly them on my jet, they might give each other dirty looks. Because they're competing for, they know that, yeah, even though we're friends, we're competing for the job. Hence, because they might give each other dirty ass looks because they're competing for the job, man. Hence, they might give each other dirty ass looks. Dirty ass looks, obviously. Sorry, not VJ. Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson might give each other dirty looks when I fly them on the, because I'm gonna fly them at the same time. Or I don't have to fly them at the same time. I can fly them on a different day. I can do that instead to avoid conflict. Obviously, I can fly Peter Jackson. No, I can fly him at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll have my jet pick up Peter Jackson, obviously, and the jet will fly to America. I believe Mel Gibson lives in America. The jet will fly to America where Mel Gibson, to Los Angeles where Mel Gibson lives, and then Mel Gibson will board the jet. He'll meet Peter Jackson on the jet, and the jet will fly to Vancouver. That's how it works, obviously. And Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson will probably what? They'll probably have a nice talk on the plane. They get their 2 beers, they have a nice beer in the jet, obviously. But the moment they ride to my office, they know they're competing for the job, hence they might give each other dirty looks. Because they both want the job so bad, Jim Singer. Peter Jackson wants a job badly, and Mel Gibson wants a job badly, and you're gonna see them. And this will all be in the documentary. The documentary will be filming some of this. Yeah, man. You're looking at an amazing documentary. That's why pre-production will be the best documentary. Because I'm also gonna film Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson competing for the job, man. Yeah, man. In the doc, you're gonna see that. You get this music. One of you guys will be my chosen directors, executive producers, and co-writers for my movie. And you'll be the boss of my Last Overseas movie. You see, you get this music. Holy shit, this is sick. Yeah. That's why I'm not gonna make the decision right away. So it's not fair to Peter Jackson because, guys, I'm not gonna I'm not going to fly you guys in all the way from where you live, have you answer the questions and make my decision right away like that. I'm not going to do like that. No. Give me a good. After I interview you guys, I will take you guys to a nice dinner. Take both Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson to a nice dinner at Boston Pizza. And they'll part out my condo. I'll send them back home. I'll have the jet fly Mel Gibson home first and then fly Peter Jackson home. Obviously, to New Zealand, obviously. And then I'll have this discussion with me, my wife, Peter Jackson. No, sorry, me, my wife, George Lucas, and my two super developers. We're going to discuss who we think is a better man for the job. Obviously, I'm going to have my doc team give me the footage of the interview with Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson. I'm going to have my team watch the video. Okay, who do you think is better for the job, guys? Watch the video. Who do you think is better, guys? Do you think Mel Gibson's better, guys? Mel Gibson, who did the mastermind behind Passion of Christ, will have a lot of, yeah. Or you think Peter Jackson's better? Ivan, that's tough, man. Like, even though Peter Jackson did that masterpiece, Lord of the Rings, and he's really good for Zanes, you have the World of Middle Earth, the Orcs, the Witch King, the Goblin King. Mel Gibson is a man of faith. You have some biblical symbolism in Zanes, obviously. He's good for that movie, too, obviously. For your movie, too, obviously, Ivan. You have some biblical symbolism with Tachys, Jesus, Eretz the devil. You have the devil in Passion of Christ, you have Jesus, too. And Mel Gibson will have a lot of good ideas for the demons. The wolves and the bats, too, yeah. And you also have the sky going blue and dark when Jesus is on the cross. You'll have a lot of good ideas for the south being cursed, yeah. That's why they're both really good. Mel Gibson's good for the horror. The horror and the biblical symbolism and the story of Jesus. The Jesus symbolism with Tachys and the devil Eretet. Mel Gibson's good for that, but Peter Jackson's more good for the world building. The world building of the north, the south, and the creatures. Like the wolves and the bats, like the orcs. But he's not really that good for the horror aspect and the biblical symbolism, you see what I'm saying here? Peter Jackson's more good for the world building, whereas Mel Gibson's more good for the horror aspect and the biblical symbolism, you see what I'm saying here? That's why they're both really good, because you get biblical symbolism with Tachys is like a symbol of Jesus. You see what I'm saying? And Eretet's a symbolism of the devil. Remember how when Jesus got whipped? Remember when Jesus got whipped in Passion of Christ, you saw the devil holding that demon baby? Yeah, well, that's why Mel Gibson's really good for what? For Zayn, because when Tachys is a kid and all stuff, you have beings watching him and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's why, just like the demons watch Jesus, yes, and the devil had like a demon baby. Well, the demon baby in Zanus is Faful. Faful is the abomination, Eretet's son. Eretet's the devil. You see what I'm saying? That's why Mel Gibson's really, really good. In the end, Tachys in agony, he has a heavy burden to carry. He's in agony, just like Jesus was in agony in a garden in Passion of Christ, yes. Yeah, and they're all his family and friends are watching him. Why is Tachys in agony? Because he's about to go to war against the devil himself. Just like what? In Passion of Christ, Jesus went to war with the devil too. As Jesus what? The devil killed Jesus, but Jesus won the war because he ended up saving his followers. In the end,